Hey, welcome back. This is Mark. Tonight's video is for my actor friends. This is for you guys. I attended a presentation today, a great presentation by Tom Fox from Allied Mortgage Group. I'll probably tag him in this video in case you have any questions. You can contact him directly. But the presentation was on home loans for the self-employed. And I thought about you guys every minute of the way, so I thought I would do a video tonight, pass along a few tips that I came away from the presentation with. And bear with me, it's going to be a little bit longer than most of my other videos, which are usually just 1 or 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. This one might be a little bit longer because there's a lot to cover. So, right into it. First off, if you decide that you're going to go shopping for a house, you're going to become a homeowner, get pre-qualified early. Right away, early in the process, you want to meet with a lender. Actually, meet with a few lenders. Shop around. Talk to a few of them. And get pre-qualified earlier. This is actually a great tip for anyone who's beginning the home buying process. You want to get pre-qualified early to find out what you can afford. Actually, for a number of reasons, you want to get pre-qualified early. But in addition to those reasons, which we will probably cover in another video, it is especially important for the self-employed because you want to make sure that you find a lender who understands your situation and has experience with your situation, because not everyone does. That's not always the case. Case in point, when I bought my house a few years back, I had a problem. The first lender that I went with really had a tough time wrapping their mind around the combination of W-2 and 1099 income. You wouldn't think that that would be the case, but that was the case here, and it was near disastrous. So, don't just assume that every lender has experience. You want to find one that has the experience and can handle it, and handle it well. We've got a few in-house guys at Keller Williams that work in the same office as us, so we can refer you to them, including the aforementioned Tom Fox that I will probably tag in this video if you have any questions. So get pre-qualified early for a number of reasons. And second tip, when you're going to meet with that lender, have your act together. Get your information together. And the most important thing is going to be financial information going back a few years. They're going to want to look at information, mostly tax returns from the past couple of years, at least 2 years, and bank statements from the past 2 or 3 months. It might be a few years that they're looking at as far as tax returns go, particularly if you have got not just acting gigs here and there, so that self-employment income, but temp jobs that you work and seasonal employment. They're going to probably want to look back a few years to see that you've established a pattern that they can rely on, that they know that you're going to be coming back to that income again and again. So you want to get that information together. Normally, for someone in a salaried position in a real job, they're going to want to see mostly just proof that you've got that salaried position. But for self-employed people and people with lots of gigs, lots of income sources, they want to see a pattern from the past few years. So get all that together. Also, you want to be able to identify the pattern that they're going to be looking at, which is taking us into the next tip. You want to time everything right. You want to ride that tide. I can't remember what the quote is from Julius Caesar, but you want to ride the tide of prosperity. If you're coming out of a prosperous year and you're thinking, maybe sometime in the next few years I want to buy a house. If you're coming out of a particularly prosperous year, now might be the time. You know, if your income is up and down, they'll average things over time. But if you're coming out of a lean year, you know, if you've got income from a few years ago that's up here, and then income the following year that's around the same place, and then income from the most previous year, you took a hit, it was a lean year, you might want to rethink your strategy. You can still go after a home loan, but just know that when you show a downward pattern, they want to see an upward pattern. When you show a downward pattern in your income, most likely that lender is going to look at just the income at that low level in that most recent year and use that as the income that they're going to judge you by when they're deciding how much you can afford or how much they can afford to lend you. So you want to have an upward pattern rather than a downward pattern. which kind of leads us to the next tip, tip number 4. We all love to take deductions. As self-employed people, we're doing our Schedule Cs. We love to take those deductions, milk that deduction cow dry, and maximize our return or minimize the amount that we're going to owe. Well, if you know you're going to be shopping for a house in the next year, maybe you don't want to work so hard in finding every deduction. Some people get creative in finding their deductions. We're all creative people. I wouldn't recommend getting creative with numbers, but some people do. You might not want to get so creative and might not want to look so hard for every deduction that you can squeeze out when you know that you're going to be shopping for a house, because what that does is it lowers your effective income, makes you look worse on paper. So you end up winning the battle but losing the war. You get a higher return that year, but you're going to qualify for a lower home loan or not qualify at all. So again, you want that upward trend, so you want to look good on paper, particularly for your most recent year. So don't go on such a hard hunt for deductions, perhaps. Again, I'm not an accountant, so you don't want to talk to your accountant about all this stuff and get their recommendations on what to do. So that is it. Those are the 4 tips. Get pre-qualified early to find the best lender. Get your information together. Know what they're going to look for. Maybe do it in a prosperous year, at the end of a prosperous year rather than a lean year. And also, you want to look good on paper, so maybe don't try to squeeze out every dime in deductions that you can on your tax returns. Take a little bit of a hit on the tax return and win the home loan process. Anyway, that was a longer video than usual. I apologize. I like to keep them right around 2 minutes. This one's coming in at 7. So if you stuck with it, thank you very much. Hopefully you got some more information. Next videos will be shorter, I promise. Until then, have a great day.